Morning, everyone. Dr. Fisher here. Today, I wanted to just spend a little bit of time with you and discuss this idea that is interesting in our society, which uh, is interesting now that things are changing, but the idea or the question of, is it okay for a grown man to cry? Now, this has been a hard question for me to answer. I am an almost 40-year-old male who has been married for 13 years. And I grew up, and my story is one where, if you're familiar with the idea of withdraw or pursue, it's a concept that comes from emotionally focused therapy, which I've been working on and being a part of for the last several years. I am classically, or at least I have classical signs of a regular withdrawal pattern. There's some anxious piece in there too, but for simplicity of today, I just wanted to talk about the withdrawer piece. So I am typically a withdrawer since I was a child in many ways, and so those of us who, and those of you who can resonate that with me, you can recognize that feeling emotions and especially being vulnerable with other people is just not something that I felt like I could do for many years. And so I've been working on this process for the last several years of learning how to be safe within myself, be able to turn to my wife. And I will have to say this morning and or in the last couple of days, as we went into another lockdown, I finally have felt safe enough where I was able to go to my wife when I was really struggling. I was working out with a buddy of mine this morning, punching the punching bag, bah, 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 and really pushed myself really hard right to the edge. So I started feeling something. I was so overwhelmed at that point in time. I laid on the ground for a little while, just about threw up slash burst into tears. And on the way home, I started to come out. I gave myself permission finally after all these years. I've never given myself permission to do that before. And then when I got home, my wife was still asleep, but I just decided, hey, I know she wants me to come to her when I'm really having a hard time. So I just finally, after almost 40 years, I was all in. So I laid next to her and I just, for 15 minutes, just let go. And it was both exhausting, fantastic, sad, miserable. At times I couldn't breathe. It was so intense. And yet it was probably one of the most freeing things I have ever done in my entire life. So I gave a little Facebook Live yesterday about the importance of being able to reach out and connect and be able to really have that inner peace with the craziness that's going on in the world. We all need that. We need to be able to be connected with ourselves and with others. And so for those of you who are struggling with this idea of feeling safe enough to be able to go and turn to somebody, or you don't necessarily have somebody yet, or if you do, I encourage you to do this process. Turn to them. Feel whatever you feel. Be vulnerable. It's one of the most amazing things, one of the most amazing gifts to receive and to give that I've participated in. It allowed me to process through a whole bunch of stuff. I won't go into details here. But I want you to know there is a way to find peace and happiness in your heart. I guess in that same process for me, I believe in God. I was able to connect with God in that moment too. And so that allowed me to have some peace that I've been struggling with since the second lockdown has happened. So for those of you who are really struggling with trying to control everything outside, I can say from my own experience, it's not going to help. It's all about what's in here and what's in here. So that's my little tidbit for today. All right, this is Dr. Fisher signing out.